Hi, today is July 2nd, 2024, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 1020 for the year, Motherfucker with a Bike on the Subway During Rush Hour. I want to precisely direct my anger because I know people have to work as bike messengers, and I know that it doesn't pay well, and I know that it is often faster and cheaper to take your bike on the subway than to ride it to where you must report to work. And I know that there is a housing crisis, and that very few people are able to live close enough to walk to work or bike to work. And I know that it sucks to have to bring your bike onto a crowded train, and that if the MTA was properly funded by the greedy motherfuckers who don't want to pay a little extra to drive into Manhattan, then the people for whom the subway is the only alternative could ride to work in much less crowded subway cars, and it would be perfectly fine for people to bring their bikes on the train, and they wouldn't get in anyone's way, and then no one would think they were motherfuckers. But we don't live in that world, and although I've now convinced myself that that guy who brought his bike onto the 3 train at 8:20 a.m. yesterday was not in fact a motherfucker, I would still sympathize with anyone who would call that motherfucker a motherfucker. Poem number 1021, kind of bad. The picture doesn't really give one a good sense of how terribly inconvenient it was to have to get around the bike. If you're, say, 3 feet from a subway exit, it should never take more than, say, 7 seconds to get off the train once the doors have opened, even if it's completely packed. But this car wasn't even that packed for rush hour because it took at least 15 seconds for the people between the door to exit, and by that time most of the people trying to get on had given up on that door and entered via another. Point being, it was terribly inconvenient for everyone involved, including the guy, and I kind of felt angry at the time. Now I feel kind of bad about having been so angry. Poem number 1022, 18 seconds. There was impatience this morning, and a desire to open the eyes before the 20 minutes had passed and get on with things. That desire came maybe about 15 minutes in, and by the time the eyes were opened, it seemed to have won out. The timer said there were 18 seconds left. Then I remembered that I had actually set the timer for 21 minutes. Poem number 1023, a good one. There was penetration, but it was the penetration of a new idea into the consciousness. There was climax, but it was a climax that came toward the end of a dramatic event. There was coming, but it was a coming of a false messiah to mislead the faithful. There was orgasm, but it was the orgasm of a solitary person. Still, it was a good one. And the last poem of the day, poem number 1024, Delicious Juice. The juice was delicious, and when the one offered some to the other drank it down. And when the other offered some to the one drank it down. They spent most of the evening giving each other juice to drink and drinking each other's juice. They got so very drunk on each other's juice, and the juice was so delicious. One would never have guessed that there was anything wrong with what they were doing. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Did I say that was the last one of the day? I think so. Well, it was. 5. Because, it's Tuesday. All right, I appreciate you.